Hey, how's it going, everyone on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm joined today with a very special guest. We have Shane here from the Rise and Grind Picker YouTube channel and Instagram account. And we're going to talk a little bit about his story, what it is he talks about over on his YouTube channel, and then delve into some really concrete topics on what we can do during the summer as sellers on eBay because this time of year, sales tend to slow down. And so, what do we do during this time period? That's what we're going to talk about in a few minutes. If you guys are here in the live chat, start talking about it. Let me know what you do during the summer. Let me know if you've seen your sales slow down, and we can answer any questions that you guys put in the live chat as well. But Shane, welcome. Thanks for being here. Why don't you tell people a little bit about who you are?
Awesome, Paul. Thanks for having me on. It's going to be a really fun show. So, what I do is I sell on eBay and Amazon, preferably Amazon FBA. And then I also on eBay mainly buying stuff at garage sales, thrift stores, a little bit of wholesale in there, and selling it. So, I really will make a buck on anything. I will sell anything. I don't really rule anything out as long as it's fully legal on Amazon or eBay.
Nice. So, how did you get started with all this?
So I kind of got started like the crazy part was I have been selling off and on eBay since 2005, and I took a couple years off and I had like 20 bucks in my savings account, and I was working a crappy corporate job. Me and my wife were like living paycheck to paycheck because we lived well beyond our means, right? And so I said I need to figure this out. Like I need to start selling on eBay again. I hit eBay hard for a few years and then branched into Amazon, and that's truly where I experienced a wealth amount of growth.
Nice. And so you say you do a little bit of wholesale as well.
Mhm.
Kind of curious what you're doing with that.
So a lot of it, so I have about 7 or 8 wholesale accounts, and so I mainly do wholesale on eBay in very small buys, usually the minimum amount. But I'm looking in the branching into wholesale with Amazon, and actually, but it's really hard to find products that are, the profit margins that I like, because usually wholesale you're doing 5, maybe 10, 15%, and I'm looking for something that's like 35% plus. And so that's really hard to find a replenishable like that. But currently I'm just really applying to wholesalers and then also just scouring their sites for good deals.
Cool. So most people here who join my channel, they're drop shippers. That's not what you do, right? You're getting the products into your own home first.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, I'm actually handling the products. A lot of now even a lot of like Amazon F, like when you're talking about Amazon FBA, like there are some companies out there that will ship stuff to Amazon for you. I haven't found one that I trust enough for that, because it's like you're really like handing your account to someone saying, please don't mess this up. But if I trust them enough, I would totally do that. It's just finding the right people and the right company.
Sure. So you have a YouTube channel too. Is this what you talk about over there?
Yeah, so I do a kind of a different kind of style. So I do a lot of like live shows with Amazon, and you are on my channel. And so it's kind of like it's set up a lot of live shows, but I also do a lot of like garage sale content where I'm negotiating. And, I love negotiating. I love teaching people how to negotiate, some strategies on maybe like really crushing some yard sales. Like I had one video where I bought, uh, it was like I paid 60 bucks and bought a whole 20-gallon tote bag full of vintage troll dolls. And I'll probably make like, I don't even know, probably $700-800 on them.
Jeez. That's pretty cool. So how do you do the negotiating? Can you throw out any tips?
Yeah, so you really want to be able to read people, right? Like I think reading people is the number one tip. So like when I was doing the troll doll video, the guy kept saying, "Let me go ask my wife. Let me go ask my wife." And so they were like wanting to sell, because he said, "I'll make you a deal so good you will walk away with a smile." And so while we were negotiating, I said, "Hey, do you remember when I first walked up and you told me you're going to make me smile? Well, you haven't yet." And he said, "Oh, well," and I said, "What about $50 for all the trolls?" And he said, "Let me go ask my wife." So he came back and he's like, 75 is the best I can do. And I'm like, "Well, I think 60 is the best I can do." So I kind of met you in the middle. And he's like, "Okay, I'll do 60 for all of them." So you want to like be able to use like when people say stuff, it's like when you're selling. It's like if you want to sell this phone. So if you're going to try to sell this phone to someone, if they tell you like I'm in the market for this type of phone, but my wife won't let me buy it, you can kind of strategize and use some of that against them. Not really against them, but kind of like remind them, hey, you said this, but you haven't yet.
Interesting. Good stuff there. So I've checked out your YouTube channel. Great stuff, guys. If you want to check out his videos, subscribe. I'll have him linked up down below. You should definitely check them out. And his Instagram will be down below as well. And some of your most popular videos are you going to dollar stores, right?
Yeah.
And finding like these. Tell me about this, because I still don't understand this.
So a lot of the most popular videos are called retail arbitrage videos, and it's basically buying stuff at retail stores and you're flipping it for, profit on Amazon or eBay, mainly Amazon for me. And a lot of it is like retail arbitrage is three types: is clearance stuff, it's discontinued items, or it's items that you can find full price in stores and also flip it for a profit because they're just high in demand. And a lot of it is like I go to a lot of Dollar Trees and I do retail arbitrage, and there's like super profitable items at Dollar Tree, like candy that you can bundle together and sell for profit on Amazon. So I found like some hard candies, they're sugar free, and I think a pack of two, they're selling for like $12.99, and so I bought them for $1. So it's really like bundling. Even sometimes you can find items that sell really good for singles, but you just walk through and you scan the store. I use the Amazon seller app or Scoutify too, and you look for items that will potentially net you some profit.
Cool. So you've been selling on eBay for a while and Amazon. So we're entering into summer. It's first day of summer is coming up. In your experience, what happens during the summer when you get into it?
See, there is a slowdown in the summer, and that's apparent. Like, I think that as a seller, you need to recognize that. But there's also some really particular strategies that you can kind of combat that slowdown and still make consistent money.
Yeah. And I'll agree like across the board, because as drop shippers, obviously we're doing different models, different products than you a lot of times, but we still see the slowdown as well. It happens to us as drop shippers as well.
Well,
But why
and,
don't you
and, and
talk?
it's the same, like you're still selling something. So, it's kind of like the same. You're going to see the same sales velocity as
Yeah.
any normal person.
Yeah. And like during quarter 4, we
Mhm.
see the same thing as you see as well. So would you mind sharing some of those strategies, and maybe we could see how they relate to what I do and how that could be
Mhm.
applied?
Absolutely. So one of my strategies is this, okay, is it's fairly simple. On eBay, I look for two things. Um, just like this pop I'm drinking, it's something that people use every day. And so if you want to be consistent, sell something that someone will buy and use every day, like a kitchen towel or a spatula or a set of pots and pans that they just or outside grilling stuff, camping stuff. It is very seasonal in the summer, and I think that people are still buying stuff. Like, there's a lot of money out there to be made in the summer, but people don't necessarily sell the right things. And I think what you got to look at is seasonal items. Like, people are going to go online and they're going to buy a sleeping bag because their kid's going on that Cub Scout trip, in a week, and they don't have one. And so I think a lot of it is just focusing on maybe people like stuff that's like items people use daily as well as seasonal items.
Yeah, I agree with that. Us as drop shippers, I use Home Depot a lot and Walmart, and the great thing about them is they will tell you
Yes.
what sells well during the holiday season. Or you could just walk into the store and see that. They're going to put in
Mhm.
the front the grills. They're going to put, the patio stuff. All that stuff's out front for a reason in June, because they know that's what people are looking for in June. So, just go on their website and see what's for sale right now.
I mean, and push mowers, they come in a box, they can be shipped. Like, push mowers are huge, and most people will go to the store to buy one. But what if someone lives in a rural area and they don't have a Walmart within 100 miles? or a Home Depot within 100 miles.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's not rocket science, but you just got to figure it out, but it's not too hard when the stores are telling you what to buy.
Well, and I always tell people, like, you have to look at this as a business, but you also have to look at it as you're trying to make it more convenient. So a lot of your customers, like, you're going to be mixed. Some of your customers are going to have not many stores around them, so that's why they buy stuff online. And also some of them just don't want to go to the store. And so there's a price to be paid, right? Because they're going to spend gas money and all this stuff driving to a Walmart 100 miles away just to buy a push mower, or they're just going to buy it on eBay and get it shipped to them, and it's going to be there in 5 days.
Yeah. I'm uh I'm more of the lazy person who just doesn't want to leave my house, so it's
Right.
easier to shop online.
Well, and I love, like, I have an Amazon Prime account. Like, I shop on Amazon and I shop on eBay a lot too. And like pretty much every birthday or Christmas present for my daughter and my wife that I've bought has been online because I don't want to go to the store to shop. Like, who wants to go in Christmas time? No
Yeah.
one wants to.
Yeah. So and then the other tip I have, and maybe you've experienced this as well, is people always need those items that are replenishables. And someone in the chat's actually saying the same thing. They said luxury card store, one of my subscribers who hears a lot, so what's up, says sell replenishable items and things that people are too embarrassed to walk into a brick and mortar to buy.
100%. 100. I couldn't agree more because, like, I'm going to throw this out there. Like, I have an adult wholesaler, and that's why I do it, is because there's big money in that. If, like, Walmart's will clearance out certain items like condoms, huge money maker, because they will sell double retail value because people don't want to buy them,
Mhm.
in a store, right? So they can prime it and get it the next day.
Yeah. So you're selling those on Amazon?
I have before, but I'm not currently, because a lot of, like, those items are clearance out on Walmart. It's really random. Like, I've seen, like, some types of lubricants and stuff like that that's been clearanced out, like, usually fourth quarter. I'll see a lot of it around, like, usually fall time. But other than
Mhm.
that, it's just really hit or miss. But like adult wet wipes, adult diapers. I am currently selling tons of adult diapers on Amazon right
Wow.
now. And I'll find them clearance in Walgreens or Walmart, and I'll buy as many as I can. And I sold a couple packs today for like $29, and I bought them for like $5.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Because I think
Yeah.
of those people, I think of older people who don't shop online. So
Hmm.
kind of surprised by that one, honestly.
Well, and a lot of it, like, think about it, a lot of their caretakers are their sons and daughters. And so
Yeah.
instead of, like, going to Walmart and buying some Depends, they're going to buy them on Amazon.
Yeah, because it's embarrassing.
Yes, it's very embarrassing, and then they're going to buy them, and then the cashier is going to be awkward, and they're like, "Oh, is this all did you find everything okay?" And then they're going to feel embarrassed.
Yeah. 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 So the reason I was asking if you're selling them on Amazon is because I assume like the adult products, you most people would be gated for those. No?
I am not gated. I'm ungated in a lot of things that most people are gated in, which is a really good thing. But I do have a wholesaler in them, so I could actually invoice in if I was gated, so I could just, send the invoice in. Sometimes it works, Amazon's not 100% foolproof with an invoice even, but I haven't really found any items that are profitable from that wholesaler on Amazon yet. I have sold stuff and am currently selling stuff on eBay because it is more profitable on there. But I mean, my wholesaler has like over 100,000 products in their system, so
Hmm,
it takes a long time. I don't set enough time to the side to look for items, to be honest with you.
gotcha. So so are you selling on eBay through the global shipping program?
Yeah, I do all global shipping. I'm probably shooting myself in the foot a little bit for it because I know that there's eBay sellers that's had more success not selling through global shipping and shipping out themselves. But I do global shipping because I think it's maximum amount of safety. If you ship a $400 item through global shipping and something gets messed up, global shipping takes the heat for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. A lot of people are afraid of it. And I've only had one bad situation with it and it was a pretty stupid one where the person ordered something and it came with a warranty, but then they said because they live in the other country, they can't use the warranty. So they wanted to return it. And it was an expensive item. And I think they were just trying to get some money out of me.
Yeah.
And it was the only time it didn't really work out. So I'm actually in the middle of that right now. I'm not sure what's going to happen. But the reason I bring it up is because I find the global shipping program doesn't really slow down during the summer. For some reason, that one always stays consistent.
Yeah, and I ship out a lot of items globally, especially like vintage items like clothing. I ship out a ton of stuff globally through them. But I've been kind of looking into like weighing like if I should start shipping myself to maybe a few countries like Canada and stuff. I'm still kind of on the fence about it. And for me, it's really just laziness because I don't want to have to deal with the customs forms and filling all that stuff out. I would rather it just be done for me.
Yeah. And that's the same thing with FBA, right? I
Yep.
mean, you could do it yourself. You could make more money, but there's convenience to doing it through FBA.
Absolutely. And that's where I think that as a seller, and if you look at it as a business, you have to think about what saves me the most time. Because time's something we never get back, ever. And I feel like there's a lot of sellers out there that could be doing more volume or more, sales, but it's a time constraint.
Yeah. And that's why for drop shipping, like I know I could walk into Walmart, buy the
Mhm.
same items, bring them home and ship them out for higher margins, but it's easier for me to do it from my couch and to have my virtual assistants from the Philippines do it
Right.
more scalable for me.
You could be watching a movie and looking for products and you don't have to touch anything, which is like the most amazing business model, right? Is not touching any merchandise at all.
I think so.
It's a great and I want to start. I have a second eBay account, and I've thought about dabbling a little bit in drop shipping because it's just
Mhm.
been really curious for me. Like I wanted to do it, but I just haven't. And the reason I haven't is because I simply just didn't know how. And as I'm watching more of your content and stuff like that, there's some good nuggets in that content that really can teach you how to start a drop shipping business if you want to.
Yeah. So, guys in the chat, let us know if you think Shane should start drop shipping or not. And while you're at, again, check out his channel if you guys are liking this conversation. Liking Shane, he's a really chill guy, he's super cool. Like this is what most of his videos are like, pretty relaxed. So check them out. He has some pretty cool videos too about penny items at dollar stores. You guys
Oh
should
yeah.
see what those are about. And everyone in the chat saying yes, yes,
Yes.
you should start doing it.
See, I think I'm gonna do like I have a second eBay account, so I thought about just finding a couple items, kind of setting it up, and then just start and seeing where it goes. You never know.
Yeah, and that's what I recommend for most people, that if they're doing something like what you're doing, start a second account because the different shipping policies, return policies, it's just easier to keep them separate. And Josh is saying that he thinks you would destroy drop shipping.
I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, hopefully good, but destroy it in a good way. But
Sure, in a good way. But let's talk about what do you prepare? When do you start preparing for quarter 4?
now, like
Now.
I think now is the best time. Like right now, I have inventory that has built up and I haven't shipped out yet to FBA. I'm actually this week should be caught up and have everything shipped out and done where I have nothing left to ship, which means I'm going to have to go back out on the road to find more stuff, right? Or, so really what I'm looking at is um, I'm looking at toys and I'm looking at grocery and I'm looking at a mixture of stuff. And also that's why I'm looking for wholesalers right now. I want to find 3 to 4 items that net me, let's say like 3,000 a month guaranteed. And so that's like the ultimate goal for me right now because I want to have them sitting in the warehouse way before quarter 4 even hits, because I want to be able to test the items out and do some test buys, do some test where I purchase a few things, maybe go out and get the same item from Walmart at full price to send it in just to do a test run.
Yeah, I agree with that. I see a lot of this doesn't really apply to drop shippers, but I see a lot of people now. They get ready for Prime Day, which is coming up soon. I think you have to get your inventory in very soon for Prime Day. But then after that, Prime Day is in July, right?
Yeah, I think the 15th, which I'm actually trying to get everything I have now out. I think the end of this month is like the guaranteed, like you can have it out of FC transfer and in the warehouse by Prime Day.
Nice. So I see most people doing that up until July 15th. And then from there on out, it's just preparing for quarter 4. And just because we're, people watching this are drop shippers, we still can prepare for this.
Yeah.
I mean, you can start adding in the items are going to sell well now and especially well during Christmas. Kind of like what Shane was saying, test the market. You can list up toys now. They're still going to sell now. They're just going to sell really well in December and November as well.
Well, and think about it like this, like even though you're a drop shipper, think about it like this, like you're making certain amounts of money from drop shipping, but you got to think about, okay, so a lot of entrepreneurs have like 6 to 7 streams of income. And so why not just sell on Amazon FBA and do some used books once in a while? Send in a box a month and just, take a little bit of extra money in while you're building your drop shipping business. It can definitely be done.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, I'm kind of busier than I want to be.
Right.
But one things I always wish I had more time for is because I'm selling so many products on eBay and Amazon, drop shipping them, I know what sells well. I can look in my store and say, hey, these items sell really well on Amazon. If I had a little bit more time, I could buy up a bunch of them and sell them FBA, and I know they're going to sell, right?
Yep. 100%. And here's my strategy, and people laugh when I say this, but almost everything sells on FBA. It's just when. You know what I mean? And now I've only had 2 or 3 products since I've been doing this that actually haven't sold. And I'm gonna probably have to recall them and put them in a box and ship them to like a liquidation, warehouse or something like that and sell them. But the problem is almost everything sells. Some things are just a little long tail, some things are short tail. It just depends on if you made a good buy, which I like to stay like top 10% or below of the category, it's eventually going to sell.
So why do you think those 2 products didn't sell?
It was a really bad buy. I'm like, oh, these are 50 cents. Cool. I'm going to try them out. And I just threw them in the cart and I bought like 30 of them because they're 50 cents. And I thought, if I lose $20, what's $20? There wasn't any FBA sellers on them. It was only like one merch fulfill that had a horrible rank.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, I'm going to buy it and try it out, and then if they don't sell, then I'll just recall them and throw them away, or I'll, take them to an auction house and get them out of here. And, I do box lots with all my returns. I make box lots. So this is the awesome thing about drop shipping is you don't have to do this. And so I make box lots, all my returns, and I save them up, and I take like 40 to 50 box lots to an auction house to auction all of them off.
Oh, interesting. So what's the benefit of that? Because then it would actually just sell and you wouldn't normally be able to sell it?
Yeah, if it's a return, like some of them are like prepaid phones, and if they open them, I could probably flip them on eBay for half the price. But occasionally, what happens is people buy a lot of box lots at auctions, and they'll bid. I'm like really hoping A, they bid up for it a little bit, but B, I get rid of it very quickly. So if it's like, if I paid $20 for a phone and someone returned it and they opened it and they activated it, and really I could get it erased and then I could sell it on eBay. And if I make $2, I would rather just throw it in an auction lot and just ship it off and just sell it in a big box of stuff.
Cool. So we have some great comments in the chat. We have Miss, it's either Mr. Santra or Mrs. on our I don't know. So it says, geez, some of these ideas just open up a new way of looking at selling. Thanks. And we have Debbie, who's talking, I guess, expanding on when you were talking about candy. She
Mm,
says, I'm still buying candy and selling candy I bought for $1 for $13 on Amazon. So that's a
yep.
huge markup. And then luxury card stores here in the chat says the day after Easter and the day after Halloween is awesome for buying candy at crazy cheap prices. Is that something you
Yes.
do the day after these holidays, the candy
Usually,
holidays?
usually no, because I don't do a lot of like, I don't do a lot of candy on Amazon, but I will like if I go to Dollar Tree and I find one good product, I'll buy 20 or 30 of them, send them in, kind of see how they sell. For me, like a lot of Dollar Tree items are just like extra, you know what I mean? It's just kind of
Mm-hmm.
extra sales or, I've found packs of gum at Dollar Trees I sold for $7 a pack,
What?
like for a 4 pack, and I buy them for $1. That's like a pretty good markup, even though you're making $3, you paid $1. But for me, I don't really hit candy sales a lot because a lot of it's chocolate. And then on FBA, they have those seasonal peaks where, like in the spring and summer, you can't send chocolate in because it's a meltable.
Yeah. Yeah. I drop shipped some candy and whoa, we have Roy just
Nice.
dropped a $50 super chat. So thank you, Roy. I'll have to split that with you, Shane.
No, no, you're good, man. No,
um, so thanks, Roy. You didn't even send a message. I
you
wonder if
should
that
have
was on
typed a message
purpose.
in. Yeah, you should have typed a message in.
um, but what was I saying before I got distracted by the ka-ching? So
Candy, I think.
yeah. So I drop ship some candy, some food items, and what I find is that on eBay, the number one buyers of those are through the global shipping program. And I think what it is because in these other countries they can't get like these Oreos and all these different candies, so they buy them from eBay, and they get them overseas.
Well, I'm thinking about like this too. Those YouTube channels that do those videos on hot stuff and the Satan's toe suckers where they do these like just challenge videos. Well, where do you
Yeah.
think they buy that stuff from? They order it
Yeah,
off
yeah.
Amazon, you know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah, that's true.
And then it becomes popular. So then people are like, I'm going to order some because I've seen this video. Like those bamboozled jelly beans. Have you ever heard of those?
No, I haven't seen those.
So my daughter was huge into these, but they're like, they have some that taste like boogers and like they're gross and they have good ones. And it's like a challenge. And some YouTuber did it and then they became super popular. And they were all over Amazon, all over eBay. And so I think staying up on the trends as well is
Yeah.
a super good point of view, especially in the summertime.
Yeah. Like I know that what were those like those candies that had toys in them? See, I don't have
Oh,
kids, so I'm
what
so off them.
Wonder Ball? Was it Wonder Ball with the
I don't
chocolate?
know. I don't know.
It's
Somebody in
something
the
I can't.
chat will know what it is.
Yeah.
But those were really, really popular. And I miss these trends because I'm like out of touch with pop culture and stuff.
You just need to literally go on YouTube and type in like toy review and then just look at some. And I'm telling you, it'll blow your mind. Like this Ryan's World kid,
I
you
know
know,
about him, yeah.
anything he touches, it's popular. It's a given.
That's pretty incredible. And he's young too, or he started when he was really young, right?
Yeah, I started when he's really young. He's made like $17 million off of YouTube. And if he says, look at this toy, you know that there's going to be like an influx in sales. So find a site that has it or whatever and drop ship it or go out and find it in a store and sell it. It just depends.
Yeah. Buy a bunch of them up front. So we have Keep On Keeping On and Pegasus saying that what I was thinking of were Kinder Joy or Kinder Surprise eggs.
Yes, I
That's what they
remember
were.
those.
Yeah. So we have a question here. First, Roy actually sent a message and said the chat was on purpose. Thanks for all the things I have learned from you. So appreciate that, Roy. Thank you. And somebody with the name Hey said, "What's your advice on selling branded goods like Nike sneakers?"
Hmm. Personally, for me on Amazon FBA, I don't touch Nike. I'm first off, I'm gated in Nike, so I can't sell it. Second off, if I was ungated, I wouldn't sell it anyway because you have a lot of issues. Nike, the brand's really cracking down on Amazon. And you have a lot of services out there that was like, hey, I'll get you ungated in Nike. Well, they're not doing it the right way. And so the problem is if they get the invoice and they send it to you, it's probably altered. So you send it to get ungated and then you get suspended for life because it was a bad invoice. Usually people that will tell you that will get you ungated in Nike, it just don't happen because Nike, in most scenarios, they're not really selling to Amazon sellers right now. But if you do find a wholesaler that's legit that does, like they're going to require like a $40,000 PO per month, and you to keep that buying power up every month.
Wow. Yeah. So everyone listen to this because this is good advice even for people who are drop shipping on Amazon, because we have to deal with gating as well, obviously.
Yep.
And people are always tempted to use those services out there, but be careful who you're dealing with because these people aren't always doing things according to Amazon's terms of service, and they sometimes can get you in trouble if you trust them.
Now, if you have, and so there's one guy out there that has an ungating service, and Paul, I can give it to you after the show, and then
Okay.
that way you kind of know. But he's legit. Like he used to work for Amazon. Like he knows the terms of service. There's also other companies out there that they just are fly by night. Pay me $3,000, no guarantees, and then you're suspended for life.
Yeah, and pay in Bitcoin so that you can't get it back.
Exactly.
Yeah, so send me that. I'll test it out, and then
Yeah.
I'll let everyone on YouTube know if it worked
Yeah.
or if my account got suspended.
But for the most part, like he don't even do Nike. He will he stays away from Nike as well, but he'll do, other brands like, if you're having trouble with like a toy brand or something, he'll help you out with that. But he doesn't like give you an invoice. He will coach you
Mhm.
and tell you like, hey, here's where you need to buy it from.
Mm,
This is legit. It has a minimum order of this, and then I'll help you, submit the invoices and stuff like that.
cool. Yeah, Nike is not one that I would touch anyway. I found that even if you get ungated in certain brands, it still doesn't mean you should sell them because a lot of times the brands will still come after you and it's just more hassle than it's worth.
I mean, I think 2 days ago I got a cease and desist letter from GoPro for selling GoPro stuff on Amazon, which I have. I've sold it before and no problems, but then all of a sudden you get a cease and desist, and it just comes with the territory.
Yeah. And unfortunately, a lot of it's misguided by these companies.
Yes.
We're allowed to resell items and they're just kind of trying to bully us, but
Yeah.
is what it is.
And if I know, like, if I have a leg to stand on, I'll fight it. If I don't, I'll just, like with the GoPro, I'm like, yep, I just shut all the listings down, recalled it. I only had 7 items, so it wasn't like I was taking a big hit.
Yeah. And in your position, when that happens, I assume you could just then sell them on eBay.
Yeah, I just sell them on eBay, or I don't really sell on Macari, but I've sold a few things. But you could do Macari, you could do eBay, and I just list it as like new, and just try to blow it out maybe and get my money back or make $3 or $4.
Yeah, totally. So we have a question. Oh, Jeff Bezos is here in the live chat.
Jeff Bezos,
There's a
yes.
guy who's Jeff Bezos. Funny. Okay. So we have a question from OG Breadcrumb. What advice do you have for someone just getting started on eBay and having some anxiety or indecision looking for the perfect products to start with?
Hmm. So I wouldn't have anxiety. So naturally, you want to have anxiety because it keeps you to be an honest seller. So I like when people say I'm nervous, you should stay nervous because it keeps you as an honest seller. But looking for products like what we've talked about, I think there's not really a perfect product. You want to look at sell through. It's simple. Like if you look at a Scotty peeler, this is a Scotty peeler. You're gonna, take this and you're gonna look it up on eBay, and then you're gonna find the products through somewhere where you can purchase them through or drop ship them through. And I feel like sell through is king. If 100 of these have sold in the last month on eBay, you know that they're you have a really good chance of selling them if there's only 5 listings, or 10 listings, or whatever. But if there's 5 that sold in a month and there's 200 listings, the sell-through is extremely low.
Yeah. And the other thing I would add to that is just, get started. I mean, you're never ever going to make any progress unless you just try something. And, say to yourself, okay, I have $200 I can play with. Maybe that's your budget. Maybe it's just $100, and be willing to risk that. Be willing to lose that all. And, don't purposely try to lose it all, but just be willing to risk it.
Yes.
Do your homework and go out there and find products, whether that's drop shipping or doing it the way Shane does it, and just try it. And the worst, if you lose $100, then you can say, you know what, I'm done with this. And then you can figure out something else.
And at $100, losing $100, it's a very cheap lesson.
Yeah.
It's a cheap lesson.
Yeah. So a couple of guys in the chat asking me some drop shipping questions about Home Depot's website. If you guys are having some troubles with that, just send me a DM on Instagram. We'll talk there. My Instagram is just my name, Paul J. Lipsky. I just don't want to get off topic in the video. Let's see some other questions here. Yeah, this video is going to be on replay. Yeah. So Shane, do you do a lot for Christmas? I'm sorry, for Halloween?
So typically I don't, but this year I think I want to kind of change that. And so I wouldn't mind finding a wholesaler for Halloween stuff, but I would want it to be like a wholesaler for mixed stuff, like they do seasonal every season. So that way I could order Christmas or Halloween. But I don't know how deep I would go into it, because you got to put into perspective if you're, buying this stuff. If it don't sell, like a lot of stuff Halloween, like costumes, could sell year round, but you could be stuck with it for a while too, So I typically don't do anything seasonal. I don't even do Christmas seasonal. I just buy more and send more in. It's just like you want to make sure you're buying toys, because toys usually sell very good, and the price goes way up on toys, because everybody, even a toy that maybe came out last year, the price is going to typically inflate up a little bit.
Gotcha. So I just always wondered if you guys, like after a holiday, like Halloween, like buy up a bunch of costumes and just hold them over until next year.
But honestly, I am looking to maybe do some stuff for Halloween this year. And if I did buy costumes, I would just leave them in FBA until the 1 year hit, because that's long-term storage, and I would just recall them after that. But I think like a lot of costumes will sell year round, because people have like certain parties and stuff too that they're trying to find costumes for, or pranks and stuff, so they'll still buy them. So I feel like, and I know on eBay costume, like Halloween costumes sell year round, props, all that stuff. What
would you say is the weirdest thing you've ever sold?
Ooh, that's a tough question, Paul. Man, let me think about this real quick. So, let me think. That's a tough one. I'm trying to look around. Oh, okay. I picked something up, and it's pretty weird, and I haven't sold it yet because I haven't listed it. But it is a black bear pelt rug that I picked up at a yard sale.
Wow.
Last weekend. Yeah, and
That's gonna be interesting. How you gonna even list that up?
So what I'm gonna do, I got this crazy idea. Is I'm gonna I have a upstairs with some hardwood, and I'm just gonna take the rug off the floor and then just spread it out, move the couch a little bit out of the way, and just take good aerial photos of it. And then maybe some photos in by my white background, and close-ups of some imperfections and stuff. But I think I'll flip it for close to $600, and I paid $140 for it.
Wow. So where'd you get that estimate from?
So eBay, there was a comp. There was one comp. So eBay holds all their solds for I think 3 months, and it was a little over. It was like $620 was the comp, and there's a few that's listed, but there's not many. And the size that sold for 600 was about the size mine is. and the ones currently listed, they're really not that big. They're a lot smaller. So I think it might be a few months, but it'll probably sell. It'll just take a little while.
Cool. Yeah, I feel like if someone was looking for a bearskin rug,
Yes.
that might be a little hard to find. They would probably
Yes.
start looking on eBay or Amazon for it.
Well, and I think that so like that item, right, is one of those items that you have to hold because you're trying to just find the right buyer. And that's where like things get slow sometimes because you're just trying to find the right buyer. It's simply stating that you don't want to drop your price down a lot. You want to list it and kind of forget it a lot of times because if the right buyer hasn't came along, it's not going to sell. So like that bearskin rug, it might sell to like a hunting lodge in Wisconsin or Michigan or or maybe a restaurant, and so you want to think like I just have to find the right buyer.
Yeah. So do you find yourself waiting like that a lot for certain products?
For eBay all the time because the sales velocity is a little lower. It's a lot lower than Amazon. Amazon's more based on volume, but like used products like collectibles and stuff like that, you wait sometimes quite a while because I feel like, especially vintage items, like I do like a lot of rock and roll records and memorabilia and stuff like that as well. And sometimes it's quick and sometimes it's slow. Like I sold a Kiss Paul Stanley 1977 belt buckle. I paid $3 and sold it literally the next day for 90 bucks. So,
That's pretty awesome.
but if you have a Kiss t-shirt that's vintage, it might sit in your store for 4 months before it sells.
Yeah. So we have Mark Gleason in the chat saying you should hire a model and have her pose on the rug.
That would be kind of funny. Yeah, that would be pretty good, and it probably would sell very quickly.
Yeah. I get in some trouble for that one. So Shane, what's next for you? What's next for your e-commerce business, your YouTube channel? Anything you want to share
So
about?
yeah, so I think YouTube. The next part is I think staying consistent. I'm looking to obviously collab with people, make a good community around my channel, but also I'm gonna do some of these like really crazy yard sale, garage sale videos, which I've been currently putting out. And then I'll probably start doing retail arbitrage content fourth quarter again, just like always, because that's what people want, And for my e-commerce business, I want to scale it up to, I want to be doing over $1 million a year, preferably 2 or 3 million, but it takes a while to get there. It's nothing that Rome was not built in a day. And, $3 million business, it could take years to grow. And I think, I personally, I've always been in the long term, in the long haul for everything. And I feel like if you're not in the long haul, you're probably not going to succeed very easily because you're looking for instant results, which don't always come across. But we're getting ready to move, hopefully, next year from Illinois to Alabama. And so we're looking for houses where I can actually either build my own warehouse on, or it already has a big workshop in the back where I can. And so virtually what I'm looking to do is like I'm looking to hire like 2 full-time people to run eBay while I go out and do Amazon.
Nice. Would those be local people or virtual assistants?
Yeah, they'd be local because what I would do is I would just have them take pictures and list it and everything. And so this is kind of crazy, but one of the things I want to do is I want my eBay store to be very big. Like I want to have an anchor store with 10,000 listings maxed out eventually, right? And so if I do this, what I want to do is if I get this, if I have to build a warehouse or if we buy a house with one in the back, what I want to do is create a system where it has like a handheld zebra scanner, and you can put barcodes on the bins, and you can scan the items into the bins, and when they sell, you scan them out, so it tracks your inventory automatically. And so if you sell an item, theoretically, it would tell you where it's at. And so you just go to that bin and you scan it and you pick it up, and then it takes it out of your system. So it's kind of tracking your inventory for you. And so I would just hire someone to list and ship and then to do pictures and help list or whatever, and I would just source and not have to do anything.
Cool. Are you, I don't know this actually. Are you doing this full time?
No, so I have a day job, but so right now it's in a weird situation where my day job, I've worked there for about a year. I came out of corporate retail and I spent 10 years in corporate retail doing the corporate grind, which is not fun. So I have a day job, but more than likely, here in the next couple months, they're going to be laying off probably quite a few people. So if I'm one of those people, that's great. Right now, my income through reselling is like 4 to 5 times more than my salary.
Wow.
So the only reason I've actually kept my job is because I work from home. And so that's the only reason I've kept it, is because I make my own hours.
Oh, very cool. So I was in a similar position to you where I was working, but doing the drop shipping, making more from drop shipping. And it was kind of cool because I could, my place I was working at, a 401k, and I just said, okay,
Mhm.
put everything I make into the 401k. So
Right.
it's pretty nice to build that up while still being able to live.
Oh,
So
absolutely. And then you have kind of you have that as a fallback in case something ever
yeah,
happens.
yeah. But then it felt much better when I left it behind
Yeah.
eventually.
You're like, see you later. No, no
Yeah.
thanks. And I think that's what it's going to be for me. Like, I think my holdup is literally, we want to move to Alabama. So I'm trying to establish a job until we move, at least. So the home loan is a lot easier to get. Because if I quit
Yeah.
now and I just do this, then at some point they're going to be like, okay, let's see your income. And I mean, I've claimed everything on taxes, whatever, but when you have $30,000 in expenses from last year that you expensed, and then they're like, okay, where's the money at? It's kind of one of those things where you got to have a little bit of a paper trail on. So,
Yeah, that's definitely one of the challenges of being like an entrepreneur. I mean, you could start an LLC and hire yourself and then just say, this is
right,
who hired me,
right,
which
right.
if they don't do too much digging around, they'll never know that you just hired yourself.
Right. And so, right now my business is like a sole proprietor, and I have a reseller's license for Illinois, but and I have a federal EIN, but I want to look at is like, okay, so what I'm doing is kind of just still struggling at my day job and really hating it, but I'm trying to build up my buying power, and I save everything I make through reselling and invest it all back in. And my goal is, if I don't get laid off, I want to have like 2 to 3 years of salary saved up in a bank account. So,
As your safety net.
yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's a crazy amount because most people say you should have 6 months of your expenses saved up. Not even 6 months of your salary, 6 months
Yes.
of your expenses. And most people don't even do that. So
Yes.
it's pretty cool that you have that goal.
Yeah. And so I think like the minimum would be 2 years, because you got to think, if something ever happens and you have a big expense, like you have to buy a new van or a new car, you could just buy it in cash and it's liquid, and then just make it back up in that next year.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And because you go around and pick up stuff, part of that would be a business expense, that van.
Yes. Yes. And then, the insurance part of that, and the gas, which I claim mileage. So it's, I think, 45 cents a mile. So, all that stuff goes into that. And I think that like your oil changes, all that stuff. But I think liquid cash is like the best thing to have on hand, because you have no debt. And a business that has no debt virtually is bound for success, versus a business that has millions of dollars of debt.
Yeah. And that's one of the biggest differences between an online business and a brick and mortar is most brick and mortar stores are in debt for years before they start making money. And the internet is just like flip that upside down because, with selling on eBay and Amazon, as long as you're not buying like too much upfront, you can start being profitable, in one day with drop shipping and with what you're doing in a few weeks.
It takes time, especially with, kind of what I do. It takes a couple weeks. Wholesale Direct says, but that money is losing value due to inflation. Are you keeping it in a high savings account? I have a business savings account, but so what I want to look at is it's 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 in there, but it's not, right? And that's the thing is it's not because I'm investing it back in for higher profit margins. So I spend $2,000, I make $5,000, I spend whatever it takes to make another five to $10,000.
Hmm.
And so you're constantly flipping it over and over and over and over again. And so it is kind of in there, but then it's like it's kind of not because I'm not spending it, but it's also being reinvested and reflipped back into product.
Right. Yeah. All right, cool. So any last things you want to say? I think there's no more questions left in the chat.
So, Paul, thanks for having me on, man. This was fun. And last things that I want to say is whether you're drop shipping or buying product or whatever, just keep in mind like this is not an instant success. You have to put time in. And if you're struggling, just stay with it. Like keep grinding, stay with it. If you're having trouble learning about drop shipping, talk to Paul, buy a course. Like we have to educate ourselves to be better.
Yeah. And if you guys want to learn about flipping products, some wholesale, anything else we talked about in this video, check out Shane's YouTube videos. I'll have them linked up down below. Send him a DM. I'm inviting you to send him a DM. I'll have his Instagram linked up down below, or just search for Rise and Grind Picker, right?
Yep, that's it. Yep,
Cool.
absolutely.
Well, Shane, thanks so much for coming on. If you guys have any questions for him, leave them in the comments here. Leave them in the comments of any of his videos, and maybe we'll have him back on in the future. But thanks.
Definitely.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Paul.
Bye-bye.